All right, we're back on the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. Richie is in today. Richie, how we doing, man?
Oh man, it's been a tough 24 hours for me, man. Top two wideouts, starting wideouts down in Tampa, both go down. Mike hurts his hamstring on one play last night. Gets his 100th career touchdowns. He's in some great company, some Hall of Famers. He'll be coming to Stark County soon. Whenever he decides to hang those cleats up. And his counterpart Chris Godwin dislocated his ankle at the end of the game last night. I saw a picture and it was brutal. I feel bad, feel terrible. Chris is a good guy, does a lot of good things down in Tampa with his foundation, with helping out with finding homes for animals, and he's just an all around great guy. And I just feel bad just seeing him go down. All of his teammates they've been taking it pretty hard too. So I just prayers up for him, speedy recovery. Hope to see him come back next year stronger and better. But other than that, hey, it's another Tuesday, man. We're one day, we got some football action tonight. Sam Houston and the FIU Panthers wearing those Miami Vice unis. What do you think about those, dude?
Miami Vice unis, I don't hate them. Carter also told me, I think he said he's dressing up as Pitbull this year.
There you go, Dolly.
Yeah, he was talking to me about this Mr. 305 thing. He was saying definitely something about Pitbull. So I yeah.
I saw Pitbull at Fawcett Stadium. How many years ago? That's when Kelsey and I got married. That was
25 years ago?
2018. It was 2018 when it was the night LeBron signed with LA. We got breaking news. I remember going to that concert. We heard my cousin got the word about LeBron signing with LA. It's like, well, at least they got a championship up there in Cleveland. Beating the worst 4-3. So I remember that and going. It was an interesting concert. I'll just tell you that.
Pitbull not up your alley there, Rich?
No, he's not. No.
Well, he's not for everyone.
That is true. That is true, man.
Yeah, Pitbull. That was not where I thought we were starting the show off with tonight, but we got the football going on tonight. The other college game tonight is that we've got UTEP got their first win last week, as I predicted. The Mighty Miners are traveling to Ruston, Louisiana, to play the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. So we got some midweek matchups going on, and then Liberty, Kennesaw State still vying for their first win of the year, and then we got Middle Tennessee taking on the Jack State fighting Rich Rod. So we got a
full slate tonight on a Tuesday.
Yeah. So that's what we're rolling, but we can hit some of the games from that we didn't get to really cover the last couple of weeks, or I guess the last couple of days. We kind of mentioned the scores, but there was a lot of mostly the top 25 there wasn't a whole bunch of noise outside of the Bama stuff. Bama, you had Bama going down. We talked a little bit about it on Saturday. What were your initial thoughts of Bama going down?
Going for that fourth and 26.
Yeah.
Kalen DeBoer saying, I'm going to go with my gut. Bro, it's 4th and 26. Like, you gotta flip the field and punt the ball and try and pin him deep at least on like the 5. Use your timeouts. Hopefully your defense can get 3 stops, punt him, and take the ball down and drive down the field and score. But he went with his gut, and it turned out to bite him in the ass.
Well, because Me and Carter had talked about that. I think off camera, he was having a debate with somebody about that, and they had were saying, "Oh, you have to go for it there," and I'm like, "No, not. I don't necessarily think you have to go for it right there. I mean, I'm a big proponent of punting the football at
Mm-hmm.
that juncture. I
Correct.
would I would have punted because you're in a no win because how much time was left in that situation? I think
Wasn't it like 5 minutes?
yeah. So you're
You still had plenty of time. I mean, there was plenty of
because
time to stop them.
I think you had the three timeouts. You had the three timeouts plus the 2 minute stoppage. So
So technically, you had 4 timeouts. If you want to break it
yeah.
down,
So
look at it logistically.
you could get the ball back with a minute and a half, but
Yeah.
a lot of people say tomato, tomato. It is, um, you know, just it's a game of football. To be honest with you,
Mm-hmm. It
that
is. Yep.
is it's what we're looking at. We talked about the Texas folks throwing the stuff on the field. 247. I don't know if you've seen that the other day.
I did see that today about that.
Or I didn't know if it was today or yesterday that they had leaked Quinn Ewers was going to sit out for the rest of the year. It's obviously not true. It almost makes me wonder a little bit on the whole thing because I think it's kind of interesting that they would even have that graphic made. They said they got hacked, but everything to me made it look like it was their graphic.
Yeah, like they were trying to get it out first, be the first, and they got a backpedal. It's like, oh, we had some hacker. We had anonymous hack us. Okay, you guys were trying to, be the first, make breaking news, and they fell on their face with it. I
Uh,
don't think Ewers would you know stop playing this year to get ready for the NFL because I don't think he's still ready to be an NFL quarterback. He still has a lot to work on, a lot of things to get perfected before he hits the pros.
I think the only downfall with Ewers for me is I think he struggles with the deep ball,
Mm-hmm.
and then another one off the beaten path. LSU's rolls. Arkansas can't call the Hogs. I I don't. I think Nussmeier might be the best quarterback in the SEC
You think? How so?
because I feel like he makes the most NFL throws throughout the league. I don't think that. I mean, he was 23 of 34 for 23 of 34 for 233. LSU ran for over 100 on him. I think if you go back and you look at Nussmeier, well, LSU as a whole, name somebody better than Nussmeier.
I got nobody.
That's what I'm talking about. And not to mention, he came back and had that big time nuts and guts throw against Ole Miss a few weeks ago, where in the overtime. So Garrett Nussmeier's high on my list. I've been pretty high on him. Uh, so I think Nussmeier is in the conversation for the Heisman. Cam,
I was just thinking that, Duke. What if he continues the ball out this year? Is he
so
legitimate Heisman contender?
yeah, he's a legitimate Heisman contender, and I know we have the Cam Ward is still undefeated. Um, Miami they're unbelievable on offense. They may have the best offense in in all of college football. And I don't, as long as they can get a couple of stops on defense, I don't see how, Miami's, I don't think anybody's going to, I think that it's Miami, Georgia, LSU right now in Ohio State. Texas, I think, is Sark is steering himself into a quarterback controversy.
Yes, I would agree. I think there might be some pressure from the Manning family too, trying to push Arch to get that get some more playing time.
I don't think it's the Manning family. Some people will say that nobody can push Sark, but the problem I think it's some of the big money oil people spent big dollars and cents. I think Arch is getting an extreme amount of NIL money, and and they want to see him on the field. They want to have their Manning moment, as you would say. So I think that is something to keep an eye on. Now the big thing with me is that it is for Quinn Ewers' sake is thank God when Arch came in, he struggled because I think if Arch goes down and scores a touchdown or does something to that effect, you have a huge problem.
Yeah, and the controversy could be brewing.
I think I think they're on the cusp of it, just for the simple fact of he went to Arch in the middle of that game, and both of them at one point in time were on the bench, like had the look of, hey, these guys are pretty damn good, and that's the other thing that I think is just wild and outlandish, that people are discounting the fact. Well, Georgia gave up 40 some odd points to Alabama, and it's like, is that what we're really going to go with here? Is that what
right?
is that what we're really going to say? Because Texas gave up 31 to Mississippi State. Or no, that was Georgia, but Texas and Mississippi State was a game for 3.5 quarters and nobody said anything. I'm just hard pressed to say that I'm not completely sold on Oregon on a neutral site. I will say that.
Yeah, I don't think they'd be able to hang with Georgia or any other SEC team.
Well,
maybe even if LSU wins out, all right? So here's what's been going through my head. What if LSU continues to win out and they're in the SEC title game?
See,
and they end up playing Georgia.
See, here's the problem you have, that I don't think anybody's looking at this SEC scenario, is that, in my opinion, the team that's got the best road to the SEC championship game, and they got 2 games. Texas, you have Texas A&M. Let me pull up their schedule so we can see the remainder. Texas A&M, outside of their week 1 loss, which the more and more you put some stock into that, the week 1 loss is not that. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's
right.
Literally the first week of the season. So, what Texas A&M has left is they have LSU this week. Even if they lose to LSU, that's their second loss of the year. Then they go on the road at South Carolina. Then they have New Mexico State, got to go to Auburn, and then they have Texas at home.
That's gonna be a big game come Thanksgiving weekend.
So when I look at it, I think A&M's got it's a pretty cut and dry path, and especially
that was a stick. Damn, you just see that hit on UTEP?
Yeah, UTEP.
Damn, that was a stick.
And then I know I know Carter in the back is going to freak out about this one, but the Indiana Hoosiers also have another easy pathway to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
They have Washington this week. They're a touchdown favorite. I think Las Vegas doesn't know what to do with Indiana, because I think they don't know if they're really, really good or not. I'm on the other side of the fence. I think Indiana is really good. Indiana's pathway to the playoff is they got Washington, Michigan State, Michigan at Ohio, and they're at Michigan State, at Ohio State, and then Purdue. I think, I hate to say it, I was high on Ryan Walters coming in. I just think he lost too much in the portal. The bucket game might be his last game as being the Purdue coach. Also, we got programming update. The weekend that Pitt goes to, or Clemson goes to Pitt, I'm actually going to be in Pittsburgh that weekend, and I may be making an appearance at the Pitt Clemson game, which may be a bigger game than what people think if Pitt is undefeated. So I'm pretty ramped up about that.
When's that game? Is that 2 weeks?
November 17th.
Oh, so we got about a month. At least, yeah, a month. Less than a month.
Yeah, a little less than a month, and then I get to see the Steelers take on the Ravens, which that ought to be real fun.
Oh, you're gonna get your shit pushed in with that game. Oh, that game between the Ravens and the Steelers it's always a dog fight.
It's always like 17-10, but that's what we got. Carter's just a Steeler hater because he's very upset that his hero, the guy he held near and dear to his heart, that he thought was going to come in and save the franchise that is the Cleveland Browns. He thought Deshaun was the guy. Carter also has a Watson jersey. He used to wear it down at Bridge Park.
I think he bought a fake Watson jersey.
Yeah,
off of AliExpress for like $25. Cheap ass.
Yeah, he had one of those. He was like, "Man, what do I do with all my Watson gear now?"
Put it on eBay. Somebody will buy it. No, I feel bad for Deshaun. I was watching at the Cigar Lounge Sunday after I mowed my sister's house. Just stopped by over there real quick. But I was watching with a couple regulars, and when they were driving the ball, I saw it. I mean, like, it looked like the Aaron Rodgers injury from last year. I'm like, that's his Achilles. No, like there was 3 other guys watching, like, oh, this is scripted. I'm like, that's his Achilles. He popped that sucker. And I mean, he was down, and the guy was in tears. And I felt bad, for him, because I don't want to see a player get injured. It's, despite however you have an opinion on him, you shouldn't be cheering for somebody getting injured. That's just a shit type of thing to do, to cheer for somebody getting injured. She was on the other foot. If you were out there and you were performing, somebody was cheering for you. How'd that make you feel? That's my opinion. I'm not a Browns fan, so I think it's dumb what the Browns did with paying for that contract. I think everybody knows that's the dumbest deal known to man, getting that, trading all those first rounders and giving them that guaranteed $240 million contract. But I mean, that goes to show you how type of fan base that is up in Cleveland. Because I know they're hungry. They're hungry for a contender. They're hungry for. I mean, they've maybe sniffed the playoffs 3 or 4 times since they've been back in '99. But yeah, man, that's unfortunate with what happened Sunday up in Cleveland.
Well, this is just my thoughts on it. I think there's a lot of moving parts that have to deal with the Cleveland thing. You have the more lawsuits settled than allegations. That is fact. You have some of those issues going on, but we're not going to dive too deep into the NFL. But I get their I get their issues. It's just not it's not good for either side. And
Mm-mm.
Cleveland took a risk. They didn't do any due diligence, and it's the most Cleveland Browns thing ever. Uh, what do you want Haslam to do? $72 million cap hit. Like, you're not gonna eat that realistically. Like, you're
No.
not doing it. And if you do that, you completely torpedo the whole goddamn team. And this is just why they need to get analytic guys. And this is my rant on it, and then we'll leave it alone. This is why you get analytical Moneyball guys out of sports, because it doesn't work.
It doesn't.
The fourth down, and they say, well, analytics says go for it. Well, okay.
No, stop that shit. Stop it. That's not this. Stop
because,
it. Enough.
Because I don't care what anybody says. It's horrendous, because, like, and ESPN will do it. And there's a lot of folks out there that watch that forsaken programming, and they think what they say is law. Like, I was watching a couple people break down a play, and it's just like, everybody wants to make fun of the Twitter gurus, but there's actually some people on Twitter that know what they're doing. You have Zach. I take his word for it, breaking down a play.
I would agree with that statement. JB, I would completely agree with Coach JB.
Yeah, like guys that have actually wore a whistle, that know what's going on,
Right.
not Jeff Saturday in Mina Kimes.
Oh, Christ Almighty! She needs to stop. She needs it. Like,
Because I was watching something, and I just heard her say, "Well, they're playing more shell." I'm just like, I'm out.
Just stop while you're ahead, please. Please stop. No one's taking your word as gold anymore. Just stop.
I just can't do it. And then we'll go to this game. I thought was an interesting end. Missouri comes back late. Auburn. Been seeing a lot of things about Auburn and the Hugh Freeze experience. Do I think Hugh will go anywhere? I don't think Auburn has. They've been playing pretty good defense. They have a Peyton Thorne problem on offense, because Peyton Thorne is Peyton Thorne. I'm not really trying to pile on the kid more than the coach, but Hugh's got me beat at that. There was a couple times during the game that they're 0-4 in SEC play, and I think he needs Kentucky this weekend, or what is it? Maybe next weekend. They might be off this weekend, the weekend of the 26th. But he needs Kentucky, and then he's got Vandy, Louisiana Monroe, Texas A&M, and then he's got to go to Alabama. And depending on the result with Vandy, I don't know if Diego Pavia channels his inner Manziel, but the big thing that I'm looking at here is, with Texas having a quarterback issue, let's just say, because that game's moved 3 points in the other way towards Vandy. It would opened up at, I believe, 21.5, and now it is at 18 points. Let's just say Vandy gives them a scare and Sark gets cold feet and makes another quarterback move. I don't like that.
No.
Because every team that they have told us that's unbeaten, it's just like the transitive property thing, we've talked about, where everybody that you think is good is bad, and everybody bad you think is good. We're halfway through the season. Am I ready to write off Alabama just yet? No.
They still have one of the top tier programs in the nation. The freshman wideout Ryan Williams. Is it Ryan Williams? Is that his name?
Yeah,
Am I right?
he's
Yeah,
only.
Ryan Williams. He's only 17. Kid's playing like a man child.
Um,
Yeah, they're going to have the best athletes. They got to get out there and execute. But anybody can catch on any given Saturday if you're caught slipping.
so what? Well, it's not what we have here. I'm not ready to completely write Bama off on the thing now. I think if they lose another game, they're in trouble.
Yeah, they might be looking outside, looking outside in, trying to get in.
Because what's gonna kill a 9-3 SEC team is 11-1 Big 12 runner up or a 10-2 Big 12 team.
Yep.
Because I think the ACC is getting two teams no matter what, and I think
I would agree with that.
I think you're playing for a playoff spot when Pitt locks horns with Clemson. So I think that's where we're heading here. And another interesting team I would like to, kind of do a little bit of a recap on is, OU gets blown out by Texas. They've been bad on offense. Tennessee beat them at home, and they got 3 SEC losses at home. Oklahoma, the Boomer Sooner, not particularly looking the greatest. They got to go to the Grove this weekend to play Ole Miss, and I think this is a do or die game for both teams because Oklahoma's 1-3, 4-3 right now, and Ole Miss is 1-2, 5-2, and this is kind of I think with this new college football, we're looking at elimination games.
Yeah, elimination games early up in the season.
So I think this determines a big portion of what Ole Miss's season's going to, potentially, because they got 2 losses too. Them, Alabama. Those are about the only 2 teams that, are on the fringe right now that have to keep winning no matter what. And the big thing helping LSU and Texas A&M is that they have no SEC losses.
Right. Yep.
And Georgia, Tennessee, Missouri, Texas, Vanderbilt all have won, and nobody in that pack has really separated itself, because you could take what's so interesting with the SEC is you can take so many of these teams. If you take one bad game away, is that team really that bad? Because hold on, let me find Florida's schedule, because a lot of people, we kind of bagged on Florida early, and I was down on Florida early, but I feel like them and LSU progressively through the season have gotten better. Right. Substantially better.
Yeah. Definitely agree with that statement.
Because if you look at Florida's schedule, and I know we brought this up and talked about it, so they get boat raced by Miami. We'd all argue Miami's a top 5 team, right?
Oh, I would agree with that statement. Totally.
Texas A&M, everybody was down on them, but they're ranked 14th, and they got LSU at home, which they're 2.5-point favorites. Texas A&M's probably, top pushing for the college football playoff, right?
I would say that too.
They take Tennessee to overtime on the road. Tennessee's pretty good, right? Just beat Alabama. Yep. And then so they beat Kentucky by 28 points. They beat them by 4 touchdowns, which took Georgia to 1 point. I know that's the transitive property thing. We don't like to do that on this show, but and then so their last couple of games, they got the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, which I'm going to keep calling it that because the cancel culture people don't like it. And then they got to go to Texas, LSU at home, Ole Miss at home and they're at Florida State.
That Florida State game, that's gonna be a barn burner.
So, and I'm not gonna go out and say it, but Ole Miss drops Oklahoma and they're out of the playoffs. The majority of that roster is built on transfer portal kids. Do we see maybe a mass exodus? I don't know. But that's what happens when you build your program out of the majority of the portal. And I know we've been huge SEC today, but it's one of the more fascinating leagues with races going on right now as far as trying to make it to the conference championship. And we're about 30 minutes in here, and I'm going to reset the show. So, but everybody out there watching on Twitter and YouTube, join the conversation. We got some guys joining the conversation here tonight. Hop on in, ask some questions, and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and help us out and try to grow the show. We almost got 50 in here tonight.
Big 5-0 on a Tuesday.
Blowing up on a Tuesday. UTEP, man, for being a 1-6 team, they just scored. I don't know if you're watching it out there, but they are playing
both games. Yeah,
they're playing tough. They are playing hard. That's not conducive for behavior. So,
LA Tech just got it across midfield.
Yeah, that was a big kickoff return. So
good blocking on the return team.
Yeah, so where we were at there was Ole Miss is dangerously close because I think at 3 losses it's going to be really hard for you to get in, and then we have your guys faithful to for your near and dear to your heart, Rich, is the Michigan Wolverines. They have Jack Tuttle that's starting when he's 157 years old. I think he graduated with Carter, but
I think they were classmates.
But it's not looking good. The Mullins is running well for him, though. I just don't know. The Donovan Edwards thing is very puzzling to me.
Might be that college football 25 cover curse.
Yeah, it's not boding well for them, and
no, it's a dumpster fire up there with what's going on. Talk about a fall from grace. Being on top of the world 8-9 months ago, and now you got beat by Illinois.
Hey, the fighting Burt Bielema's, I think that's I was going to say some relation to Carter, but he would take offense to that.
Screw Burt Bielema. He blocked me on Twitter for some reason. I don't even say anything to the guy. I think one of my buddies tweeted at him, calling him a fat ass or something, and I liked it. I ended up getting blocked. I'm like, what did I do?
Hey,
whoa! Then my buddy never got blocked. I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Whatever. I'm only blocked by one person, and it was for political reasons. Is Scott Paterno?
Is that Rick? Wait, he's Scott Paterno. Oh, is that Joe Paterno's kid?
Yeah, up there. Okay. Creepy Valley.
Yeah, Pedo Valley.
Yes, I'm sure. State. Yes. Carter's probably his skin is growing, but I think he just cringes because he doesn't know. He's like, what are these guys going to do on this podcast? We'll hop into some Big Ten topics here. Another fascinating team, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, the guy that eat the fellas that eat the corn the long way. Joey Chestnut's words, not mine. That's literally what he said on Big Noon Kickoff. He said, up there in Nebraska, they
oh God.
he said that the Out there in Nebraska, they eat the corn the long way, is what he literally said on Big Noon Kickoff. So I'm
Oh,
just
jeez.
I'm just repeating what Chestnut said. So the Huskers, a lot of people thought that they could have been maybe a fringe playoff team. They got to go to the Shoe this weekend, which that game is at noon. I think we're gonna have I had somebody reading Chase Parham off of MPW Digital read the numbers for the TV things or the TV ratings. If you go look this up, Fox and CBS are dying with Big Ten programming.
Dying as in like bad?
Yeah, out of the top 14 games or 12 games, you can look this up. He read it off. Out of the top 12 games, NBC's got the highest rated game. It was Ohio State, Oregon.
Oh.
All the other Big Ten matchups have bombed miserably. Bad.
Great scheduling by CBS and Fox.
Well, it's because they have all these big noon games. Like Fox continues to put like Ohio State. I'm going to go on another rant about this. Ohio State should not be playing Penn State at noon. I don't care.
7:30 NBC or ESPN. That's a rivalry game. You got to have that at night, not at noon.
Fox needs to have it at night so people are watching that, because you know how many Ohio State fans have to work a half a day on a Saturday, or have to, I'm not just talking about, I'm talking about the fan bases as a whole. There's a lot of working class people that work until 1, 2 in the afternoon on Saturday, and then they have kids, they have all kinds of stuff that are going on, like Carter has soccer until, he's got the worst soccer league in the world, I think, because they normally schedule his games at it's either 8 in the morning or right at noon.
Well, we all know Carter's a field fair, and he loves playing soccer, wearing his shin guards and all that. So he never played football. I don't care what he says. He was a forward.
Yeah. So, but I'm just saying,
he's trying to relive. He's trying to rehash his glory days from Dublin Coffin soccer days.
So he's gonna absolutely kill us after the show.
Oh, I know he is. Love you, Carter.
But but you know what I'm saying though. Even at 3:30 CBS, but what good game has CBS had this year? That's been good.
I don't think any game's been good.
I mean, who is tuning in at 3:30 to watch Ohio State play Akron? I get it, it's Ohio State, but they're playing Akron.
It's a scrimmage. All it is a scrimmage. I mean, yeah, I love my Buckeyes as much as the next person, but 3:30 for a Akron or a MAC game. I mean, they had a MAC game again, or they played Marshall. Was it 2 or 3 weeks ago? It's late September and it was 90 degrees out. My buddy Fick and I, we went down and we were dying. But a Marshall, come on, you guys got to do better than that with the scheduling.
Okay, I get the Ohio State scheduling, but this has been a big component of mine. There's you have all these schools that do have these scheduling issues. Ohio State was one of them. They had 3 MAC opponents. Well, not 3 MAC opponents, but they had the 2 MAC schools plus the Sun Belt school, and you got to play better competition.
Yeah.
The TV networks are dying because of this, because nobody is tuning in to, and the SEC got smart and started scheduling conference games in week 1, week 2, or well, not week 1, but week 3, week 4, so they have staggered conference games all the way throughout. Because I would rather watch South Carolina play Kentucky than I would Ohio State play Marshall.
Yeah, because the level of competition, they're kind of neck and neck with those second, third tier team, the second tier teams in the SEC, versus Ohio State playing Kent State, Marshall. I mean, next year Ohio State week 1. They play Grambling State. Like, they're gonna blow them up by like 75 points. I mean, what the hell's the point? You grant, yeah, you're paying them to play, but Jesus, like,
Do you think?
schedule
Okay,
schedule somebody that at least will be competitive week 1 because you got Texas the next week.
here's a detail, because another school that did this when they played their first conference game lost was Ole Miss. They played Wake Forest, they played Furman, they played Middle Tennessee State. They played a soft first 4 week schedule, and then when the first time they got pushed, when they made it over to conference play, they lost their first game. Same thing with Ohio State.
Right.
Exactly.
I
They did play Iowa, but what are we talking about here?
mean, Iowa still hasn't discovered the forward pass since FDR.
It's great. It's, Iowa plays
Mhm.
Minnesota for the Floyd of Rosedale, Carter's favorite trophy. I already know this dude is lighting us up after this show.
Oh, he's gonna rip us a new one. That's fine. Whatever.
But but anyway, back to the original point. Nebraska they got Ohio State, UCLA. They got to go to USC, Wisconsin, and at Iowa. And I think that Iowa game's going to do numbers because it's already set for 7:30.
Yeah. Exactly.
So you mean to tell me that Nebraska, Iowa, I believe that's on a Friday night though, but they get primetime TV, and Ohio State, Penn State get the stick and have to play at noon. I don't want that game played at noon. Like,
no.
If you're in competition with the SEC, just say you're in competition with them. But I get it. Ohio State's got a lot of blue hairs. They want the game at noon. They like the game at noon.
They gotta have their Raisin Bran or bran crunch in the morning so they can get up and drink their prune juice. It's like, it's annoying. First of all, the night games. To me, I love when Ohio State plays at night because you have the whole day anticipating or waiting anticipation for them to kick off at 7:30. I mean, that October 12th day. I mean, I was pacing around my house. I was doing chores. I was cleaning. I was folding laundry. I was doing whatever I had to do to kill time for that kickoff.
Yeah, you got the old fellers like Kirk Martin and Zach Smith, and they all like the noon games, the blue hairs. They got to get the golden corral to get that buffet special, but
Kirk's like a year older than me.
He definitely loves the noon games. Ask him about it.
I'll have to ask him.
Especially with their sweet TV, because they refuse to fix it. Their TV is messed up in their suite, and him and Nevada refuse to fix it because they think Ohio State should fix it, and they won't fix it. So they're at a kind of a standoff right now. If you watch Barton's show, they're in a standoff with the shoe right now to fix the TV. Everybody else's, he took a video one time and showed it on Scoop. Everybody else's TVs, like for miles down the road in every other suite, all work except theirs. It's the funniest thing in the world, because he said, I am not fixing that TV. You should fix the shoe should fix the TV. But they're in a little bit of a standoff with the TV business. But they showed the press box at Indiana. Now that we're back on Big Ten stuff, where they showed the press box at Indiana. You know what Indiana had in their press box when they showed the announcers? They had all the ceiling tiles in their ceiling.
That's an embarrassment. What an embarrassment that is for Ohio State for being that not even having the ceiling tiles in their press box.
To me, it does not. I don't think it jives. It's just some of the strangest stuff I've ever seen. I was going to ask you about Rutgers, since we're in Big Ten land. Rutgers starts out super duper hot, starts out 4-0, and now they've dropped 3 in a row. Dropped one to UCLA, Wisconsin, and Nebraska. Nebraska was a close one. They lost 14-7 at Nebraska, and then the other two were UCLA was a field goal, and then
blown out last week against Wisconsin, didn't they?
Yes, blown out against Wisconsin. So going forward, they're at SC, Minnesota, at Maryland, have Illinois at home, and on the road at Sparty.
Oof.
It's looking pretty rough on the
looking kind of bleak for Shiano's squad.
But we'll change gears here to a fascinating team that could be an outsider looking in, because the rest of their schedule is really not anything to be worried about. The SMU Mustangs in the ACC are undefeated in the conference. They have one loss. They lost by 3 points to BYU. SMU, this is who they have left. They have Duke, they have Pitt, Boston College, at Virginia, and they're home against Cal. Breaking down the playoff races, if everything works out for SMU, how do you leave them out of the playoff?
You can't. I don't know if they capitalize on every single one for week in and week out.
Because especially if BYU wins the Big 12, it would be their only loss would be the Big 12 champion, and they would be undefeated in conference play. And I think you could make the argument, if SMU wins out and they make it to the conference champion, and let's say they lose to Miami, an undefeated Miami, it would be an undefeated BYU and an undefeated Miami would be your two losses, and then Clemson could end up 11-1. I think you have a strong case to put 3 ACC teams in.
The thing is, you put 3 ACC and 3 Big Ten and 3 SEC teams.
I don't know if everybody was thinking the SEC was going to get 4 or 5. I don't know if you get there.
They all start to cannibalize each other towards the end of the year.
And that's because I don't think you can put in a 3-loss SEC team over a 1-loss Clemson. I just don't see how you do it.
I don't think you could either. As much as we can't stay in Dabo, you can't. You can't put a 3-loss over 1-loss Clemson.
Because for the committee's sake, it would help if one of these guys would lose. But ever since they got paddled by Georgia, they beat App State 66-20, NC State 59-35, Stanford 40-14, beat Florida State 29-13, Wake Forest 49-14, Virginia 48-31. They're rolling.
They are, yes, they are.
And then they have Louisville at home. They got to go to Blacksburg, and then they got to go to Pitt, which I'm probably going to be at that game. They've got the Citadel at home, and then they got South Carolina at home. Where's the loss?
Citadel Bulldogs. I was a bet man. I put $100 on Citadel. Upset them.
But
no, I would never put $100 on the Citadel beating Clemson. There's no shot in hell.
Because if you look at this, and this is all things saying that Pitt may not lose. With all things being considered here, you would have undefeated Clemson in the ACC. You would have undefeated Miami and undefeated SMU. You would have 3 undefeated teams in your conference, except for their one non-conference win. That would be to potentially BYU, the Big 12 champion.
Then who do you put in the ACC game?
I would say it'll probably be Clemson and Miami, depending on tiebreakers and what have you. But
But what if SMU goes undefeated?
Exactly. It would have to be whatever the tiebreaker is. And so that's a whole huge issue because with all things considered, if you have 3 teams in the ACC, I think you'll have 3 Big 12 teams, or could make the case for 3 Big 12 teams.
Starting to get interesting, Duke. Starting to get interesting.
Because I believe, what is it? November 5th is when the first college football ranking comes out.
I don't know. I haven't. You might be right. I don't know about that one.
Because the big blemish that Kansas State has is they got blown out in Provo by BYU. Because I think as all things considered, the Big 12 has. I mean, Oklahoma State. I don't know how to explain that. That is what you would call tough sledding. Oklahoma State, in which we all know Houston was going to be a work in progress. Baylor, who knows? They're the most inconsistent team in college football. Kansas lost a lot in the transfer portal. Utah, Cam Rising, 150 years old. Arizona plays no defense. West Virginia, underachieving. TCU, who the hell knows with them? They've been blah. And then Arizona State is on the upswing. I think Dillingham is getting him there. Colorado, I know some people want to bag on Dion, but they have a big game this week in Cincinnati. If Colorado wins that game, it puts them right behind Kansas State. And if all things being considered, you could have 2 one-loss Big 12 teams and 2 undefeated teams playing in the conference champion. And, the committee would like an excuse to throw Dion in there.
Oh, yeah. Because, as much as some people can't stand Dion, he is polarizing and he draws people's attention, good and bad.
But
so,
they gotta. There's a lot that's gotta happen. But
yeah, I mean, we still got plenty of. I mean, we got what? 2.
Still got 5-6 weeks before.
Yeah, 5-6 weeks before we see stuff all falls into place.
Yeah, so that's what's going on, and the problem with the Big Ten is that the Big Ten is really a 2-team race right now.
Yes.
Well, it's kind of a 3-team race because it's Indiana, Oregon, Penn State. So that's in Penn State and Ohio State will be all things be equal, but Ohio State still has to play Indiana. I mean, I could look up the rest of Oregon's what they have on the rest of what they got the rest of the year. They got Illinois.
Oregon, so they got they got Illinois this weekend. Next weekend, those pricks up north. November 9th, they got the Fighting Turtles of Maryland on November 9th, and they have that's a Saturday. Okay, yeah, I can't even see. That's 16th. Yeah, Wisconsin Badgers the week after. Then they're off the 23rd. Then they play the Huskies. Rivalry weekend.
So, for all intensive purposes, if everything works out, Oregon's ticket is punched. It's just who they're playing.
Right. Unless. But what if they go into Oregon and Fickle and the Badgers upset them?
Yeah, that could make some interesting things happen. Mm-hmm. I think Fick needs some. He definitely needs a signature win. It's not been going as planned, but realistically, I've often always thought, what are your realistic expectations at Wisconsin? He's kind of doing like a mini Rich Rod when he brought in Phil Longo. You're completely trying to change a culture, not change the culture, but just completely change a dynamic on offense. to make it more explosive, to make it more appealing for, skill players that want to go there.
Because they're always ground and pound type of, big offensive linemen, big strong tailbacks. But I mean, didn't they just move to the spread this year?
When Fickle took over, that's when they moved to the spread. He brought in Longo, and you thought they had their guy. You thought they had their guy in TVD, Tyler Van Dyke, and it just, he ended up getting hurt. So it's looking rough. And one Mac note here is: Kent State going to win a game this year?
Probably not.
Okay.
The Flashes. They might go 0-10. Let me see their schedule.
I got it right. I got it right here, Richie. They go to Western, then they have Ohio at home, to Miami, then they have Akron at home, and then to end out the year they got it at Buffalo. So
Tuesday the 19th is when they play the Zips for the Wagon Wheel.
Are you going to be in attendance for that, Rich?
Oh no, it's my dad. If my dad's listening, Dad, if you want to go, let me know. We'll try and go up to the old stomping grounds. Probably not. I mean, I'd love to. I mean, it's been so long since I've been to Ken. It's been a long time. But I think I went to like two or three Kent football games in my entire life.
Yeah, and then another side note for the Big 12, Utah's offensive coordinator resigned.
Why the hell did he resign?
After last week, Utah's been sputtering on offense. The whole Cam Rising thing, Isaac Wilson. It's just not been a
pleasant happy marriage.
Well, I don't think he's ready to play, and they keep playing him. I think nobody in the Utah camp or pretty much Kyle Whittingham was thinking, Wilson, is going to play, significant snaps this season, just for the simple fact of, you had Cam Rising, and he's, I believe, coming back for an 8th year of eligibility, which is just wild to me.
The Van Wilder of college football.
Do a little. I know for some people out there that don't really follow Utah closely, they started out 3-0. They got that signature win at Oklahoma State, and then it kind of fell off the rails for them. They took an L to Arizona, lost to Arizona State, Kenny Dillingham, and those guys getting a big win down there, and then they fall at home to TCU 13-7, and they got to go on the road this week to Houston, that's not going to be an easy that is definitely not going to be an easy game, just for the simple fact of Houston is an upstart. They're going to reach up and get somebody, and not a better time. And then I mean, it helps. You got BYU at home, then you got to go to Colorado, and then you have Iowa State, and then you got to go to UCF to end the year out. And Utah, that is that's not an easy schedule. You're playing 3 out of the top 5 teams in your conference to at the end of the year in your last 5 games, 3 out of the top 5 in the conference out of your last 5. So it is you might be on.
It's a gauntlet.
Yep, you might be on the struggle bus there, but we are bumping up on an hour. I know it's getting late for some people on the East Coast time, but want to take the time out to thank everybody for watching. And if you're on Twitter, come on over to YouTube and join the conversation. It is a plentiful one, and if you could, please hit that like and subscribe button, and pop on over because we normally try to go live 5-6 days a week. Try to be off on Sunday. On the programming schedule is normally 7:30 ish, 7:30 ish. So if you see a graphic up on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is when Carter comes on the show. Richie is he fills in on Tuesday and Thursday, and then Saturday we try to get everybody together as a collective group and try to pick everybody's brains. But with that being said, please hit the like and subscribe button and help us grow the show. That's something that we're trying to do. And if you're a college football fan or a football fan in general, give us a follow and give us some feedback. And all the links to the socials are in the bio. And with that being said, Rich, you got any last words?
No, nothing going on. It's rivalry weekend in Stark County. It was a big rivalry game Thursday night. The Stark County Holy War. Shout out to my Central Catholic Crusaders playing my cousin's alma mater, the St. Thomas Aquinas Knights, Thursday night. And then there's a couple other games. I got the Master McKinley game, the Jackson Hoover game. I don't really pay attention to those games. I know one person that'll be in attendance. You remember Fick?
Mm-hmm.
He's going. He's got his tickets ready and his Massillon gear ready. He's probably gonna go to the pep rally and go rah rah rah, go Tigers, Tigers. And I think my buddy Coop's going, but
is he gonna paint his chest?
He might paint his face. Coop said that when they went to the state title game against Hoban, he was a nervous wreck. He was biting his fingernails till they were bleeding. He said, man, Fick was a nervous wreck going to that game. I'm like really? I'm like, I know we played football with that kid 20 years ago. How? What? Like, it's Massillon.
Nah.
So
it's just a Massillon thing. I understand. It's just
Tiger Town.
Yeah, I mean.
But truthfully though, it should be a good game. McKinley lost to Jackson last weekend, so it's gonna be a heated rivalry. Last year, I knew last year there was a big fight after the end of the game. So we'll see how the atmosphere, the air, how the air is rared down for that game. It's a 2 p.m. kickoff game, and I think so. If people want to get their bets in, you better hit up Vegas for those bets.
Yeah, it's just
I think that's the only high school. I think that's the only high school game that's ever where you can play where you can put a bet on.
Yeah, I don't think you can. I don't know if you can bet on high school action.
You can bet on the McKinley Massillon game.
Oh no, Carter's coming out with the grammar stuff. Somebody was complaining and saying the thumbnail was clickbait, and it's funny because it's hilarious. Somebody put a graphic out. They put out a fake graphic on a verified account.
Yeah.
Is that not fucking clickbait? Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, come on. They were trying to be the first ones. Trying to start a controversy.
And for all you know is that if let's just say in a grand scheme of things, Texas starts playing Vandy and it doesn't go well, you know who they're going to put in? Arch. And you know what that's going to do to Quinn's draft stock? It's going to go in the toilets. So
you're looking second, mid-second, late second.
So before you want to criticize the producer skills here, just keep that in the back of your mind. Or do you guys need to throw some more beer cans on the field and get your alcohol sales ripped? Because I don't think you want to get in a pissing match with the SEC because they are the highest rated. You had to join them. They didn't join you. So keep that in mind, Texas fans. And also keep in mind if the offense struggles coming out, you're getting Arch Manning. That's what you're getting. You're getting Arch. And what does that do to Quinn's draft stock? And then good luck recruiting a quarterback going forward whenever that happens. So with that being said, Richie, you got anything else to add?
Nope, that's it. That's all I got, Duke. Tomorrow's hump day. We're almost
No.
towards the weekend.
All right, we'll be live tomorrow again. Carter will be back, and he's doing the Macarena in the background. But with that being said, everybody have a good night.
I think he's doing cartwheels. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.